But a lot of focus on what is happening to Lucy Letby right now. She is going to be in a cell that she may well spend the rest of her life in. She will die behind bars. She's just the fourth woman in British history to have been sentenced to a whole life tariff. Let's talk to Jo Hemmings, who's a behavioural psychologist and joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you for joining us. It was fascinating, the people who've been watching this case in court, because we don't have cameras in our courts, we just had the camera on the judge for the sentencing. When people who were watching Lucy Letby throughout this, showing that just when they harrowing details of what was done to these children, and a really crucial point that the judge had made, which I think is one of the most terrible things about this, is that he used the word sadistic or sadism, is that actually these babies were caused terrible pain. Injecting oxygen into a baby causes it terrible, terrible pain. One's only hope would have been that these babies didn't feel anything in their few hours, few days of their lives, that they didn't end in pain. But they did, which is even worse and a compounding horror for the parents. But Lucy Letby was just completely blank-faced, appeared to just take no emotion. The only time she showed emotion was a picture of her cat in her bedroom, and also when there was conversations with a doctor who she claimed had a crush on and may have been motivated to get his attention by killing these babies. What does that tell you about her?
Look, she undoubtedly was born a psychopath. You know, if we look at all these psychiatric conditions being part nature, part nurture, very rarely is someone they call it born evil. Okay, so born a psychopath. She has no conscience. She has no emotions as we understand them. No remorse, no guilt, nothing. It's a sort of strange blank slate. And she, I think, was someone who, hiding in plain sight, quite ordinary looking girl. She tried out various things in her life to see how they felt. You know, she had good friends, she had a close family, you know, she had a lot of support. Nothing was really driving her. It's really hard to get our heads around what pure psychopathy is like. But she found her purpose. Yeah. And her purpose was either by joining nursing and going into neonatal nursing specifically, or by ending up there and killing these babies. This was her mission. Zero empathy. She found something she got, it definitely sadistic pleasure.
She got a kick from it. She got a kick from the power. We're talking about this. That thing. The word psychopath is a word that I haven't seen bandied around about this woman. Clearly, these are psychopathic traits. This the narcissism, the absolute lack of concern for the babies, although professed it, but also. I remember hearing one analyst who'd been in court saying, she won either way. If the baby survived, she was the hero nurse. If the babies didn't survive, poor Lucy battling to save a baby's life and being there, and how traumatic it must be when you care for these little babies. And it was all about her.
All about her.
Yeah, and this is a worry for, I suppose, and we know some of the parents who gave testimony in court with their victim impact statements. They were saying that the lack of trust they now feel, because this lovely lady who was kind to them, and as one mum said, she chose the gown that my baby is buried in when she's the person who killed my baby. I mean, just horrific revelations like that. The person they thought was caring for their baby, keeping their baby safe, the person they thought was comforting them was the person who'd done this to their baby and done this to them. How do you ever trust again if the angel-faced nice nurse has done you so much harm? How can we trust anybody if they can hide in plain sight like this?
Look, it's incredibly rare to have that level of sadistic psychopathy. It really, really is. I hate people to think this was in any way commonplace. So that's one thing to take away from it. But yes, part of her sadism, and that's a form of psychopathology, she carried on following up with these parents. You say she chose the gown. Yeah. She sent them condolences notes. Yeah. She virtually stalked these people after killing their babies. She was addicted to that behaviour. And now, behind bars, what will happen, as would happen with the other rare occurrences of these psychopaths, like Beverly Allen and so on, they don't discuss it again. It will never be talked about. She has now disassociated herself from what she has done. In fact, she never really related to it.
Yeah.
Which is how she managed to manipulate in that way. Because if you've got no empathy, no conscience, of course, you just think the outcome is great. You know, I've got people liking me and I'm popular, but I'm also managing to kill these babies. And it's a shocking sentence to utter, because it's impossible for most of us to try and get our head round what on earth that must feel like for a human being to have that.
And that's the thing, it goes against everything. I mean, every instinct you have is to protect children, particularly newborn babies. I mean, I was at a family birthday party for a 2-year-old on Sunday, and one of the guests turned up with a few months old baby. You know, with these sort of concertina, little crinkly little things, and I just have an instant. I mean, just my whole body just they just that's her instinct, and we particularly feel that about women. Do you think people are more shocked because of the job she did in a caring profession? I mean, no, look, 99.99999% of people working in nursing are there to care. They are, let's not pretend that there's any different. But also that she was a woman.
Look, I think we have to turn everything on its head. Yes, because she was a woman and we are more nurturing, generally speaking. Yes, because she went into the most caring profession. Yes, as you say, all of us, however hard-hearted we are not very maternal, look at a vulnerable baby and go, the heart instinctively goes out to them. It's not a conscious feeling. You just think, oh my God, they're so sweet and vulnerable. And if you turn all that on its head, that's how she was.
Yeah. And in terms of her decision not to attend court after the first few verdicts were returned, again, this took a number of periods of days. It was a huge case, and not there specifically for the sentencing, to hear the families, allow them to look her in the eye when they said, this is what you've done to us, this is the impact on our lives. Is that a sort of sign of her wanting to have control, wanting to have power? Was it, as one parent said, a final act of wickedness from a coward?
I suppose so. Look, I think it's controversial, but I don't think she should have been there, because I think it could have been even more distressing for traumatised parents to either watch her. She may have been kicking, spitting, shouting, or she may simply have looked absolutely passive, and so their impact statements. She may have smiled. I don't know, but I do know she wouldn't have behaved in a way where those impact statements had any effect on the level of remorse, or she wouldn't have been listening to them. She doesn't care. And I think actually it might have given her more power to have been there, because that's actually, she could have given the sort of reactions that they hard to see.
I think you make a very good point. It may well have been worse. Jo Hemmings, behavioural psychologist, thank you for that. Appreciate that.